Hello everybody, welcome to Totally Tabled. My name is Shaggy, and today I'm doing a full solo playthrough of En Route by Crowd Games. This is a sponsored playthrough, which means that Crowd Games paid me to make this video to show you how En Route is played for their upcoming Kickstarter campaign. So if what you see here looks interesting to you, please check out their campaign. A link is in the description below. Now I went ahead and I got everything set up for a solo game of En Route. Keep in mind that everything you see here is a prototype and subject to change, including the rules. Check out the campaign page for the most up-to-date information. We're going to be playing with the First City map, which is recommended when learning the game. After you feel comfortable with the rules, you can move on to the London map, or the Hong Kong map, or even New York City. Those are the only maps that I have in my prototype copy, but I'm told there's also going to be Rio de Janeiro, Cairo, and Paris. And each of these maps come with their own cards and unique little tweaks to the gameplay. To set up, I took the 24 tourist cards, and I shuffled in the 12 iconic landmark cards that are specific to the first city. They're the ones that say First City at the bottom of the card, like this card here and that card right there. So you shuffle that all together to form your deck. And then in the solo game, you're going to create this tableau of cards here, just like this. You can then deal yourself a hand of 2 cards. And then we shuffled up the goal cards, and we got a random A, B, and C goal. We also got the First City round board, and the First City solo challenge card, as well as 4 colors of pens, and that's it. We're ready to go. En Route is a flip and write game in which we play tour guides trying to create the best excursion through the city, passing by various different landmarks that are going to appeal to the tourists that we attract. We're going to do all this in 10 rounds, which are going to be tracked by these cards here. Now in the solo game, we have to decide whether we want to play on easy, medium, or hard. And the only difference is how many of these goal cards we need to complete. For this playthrough, I've decided to play on the hard difficulty, which means we're going to need to complete all 3 goals. If we're playing on easy, we only need to complete any one of them. If we're playing on medium, any 2 of them. And if we're playing on hard, we need to complete all 3 of them in order to win. If we're able to win, given our chosen difficulty level, then we'll count up points. But unlike the multiplayer game, in the solo game, we don't get points for completing our goal cards. Instead, we're just going to get points for our tourists and a couple of various other things. You'll see that as we play. So each round is very simple. The first thing you're going to do is pick one of the cards from your hand and one of the face-up cards from the tableau and play those cards as a pair. So I think I'm going to start by playing this 3 from my hand and this 1 from the tableau. Now, once I've selected these 2 cards, these numbers represent coordinates on the map. So I'm either going to be drawing my tourists in location 1, 3, so right here, or 3, 1, right here. I can pick either of those 2 locations, but I have to just pick one of them. And whichever location I pick, I'm going to be drawing the different types of tourists that are shown on the cards. In this case, I'm going to be doing 2 blue tourists and another one. So 3 blue tourists in all. I'm going to go ahead and draw those tourists right there. The only restriction is we can't draw in a space that already has tourists drawn in them. But that location didn't have any tourists, so we're fine. As you can see, the tourists come in 3 flavors. We have the red circles, the green squares, and the blue triangles. The only difference between the tourists is what kind of locations they want to check out on the tour. So the blue triangle tourists are most interested in cultural centers like museums and art galleries and theaters. And those locations have been marked in blue on our map. The red circles are most interested in crowded entertainment kind of centers like different shopping districts and fairs and stadiums. And we have 3 of those locations on the map. And the green squares, they're interested in beautiful outdoor locations like parks and public gardens. And we also have 3 of those places marked on the map. Now that we've drawn our tourists onto the map, we now get to create a route segment. That's just going to be any straight line between any of these intersections. And the rule is simple. we can draw one route segment anywhere on the map, wherever we please. Or we can draw two connected route segments so long as one of those segments is adjacent to the location where we just drew our tourists. So I'm going to draw my segment just like this. Since one of the segments was adjacent, I got to draw another segment. And keep in mind, I could have drawn this segment up here like this as an L, or even there along the outside. It doesn't have to be in a straight line. But I'm happy with that road segment like that. Now that we've drawn our route segment, we can discard these cards that we played. We draw another one into our hand. And then if any of these face-down cards in the tableau were completely uncovered, we would flip them over now to reveal them. That's not possible at the end of the first turn, so we're all done. That was a complete round of the game. We could mark off our rounds here on this round tracker, but in the solo game, these cards also let us know what round we're in. Once we've played all of these cards, the game will be over. Oh, and I forgot to mention that once per game, you can return one or two of your cards that are in your hand to the bottom of the deck, and then draw up to your hand size, and then reshuffle the deck. So basically, once per deck, you can get a little mulligan. If you really don't like your hand of cards, you can attempt to try to draw some better ones. But I like my hand of cards, so I'm not going to do that right now. Let's start off round 2 by playing this 6 card from our hand and this 4 card from the tableau. That means we can pick either coordinate 4-6 or 6-4. I want to have 4-6 right here. And we got a special card here. This is a copy card. So this is just going to double the number of tourists on the other card that we played. So in this case, we're going to be drawing 2 red circle tourists. We now get to draw our route. And again, we could do it anywhere. We could draw a route right here if we wanted to. But if we did that, we'd only get to draw 1 segment rather than 2. And so I want to have it adjacent to the location that we just played on. So I'm going to take it up like that. Now we crossed over this yellow hand, and if we're able to take our completed route at the end of the game across multiple of these hands, you can see there's 3 of them, then we'll get either 10 points for crossing 2 of them or 20 points for crossing 3. So maybe we can take this side of the route up like that in order to cross 2 of them. That might be worth quite a few points. Now, as you can see, our route is segmented. You don't have to draw it connected. But at the end of the game, you're going to select one continuous route, and that's going to be the only route that matters. So it's going to be very important for us to connect these up together before the end of the game. But we got a long time to have to worry about that. Now, there's one other thing that we need to think about. It's because on this card right here, you can see here it has a special location, the School of Illusion and Pottery. And that's referring to this gray location right there. Whenever you play a card that mentions a gray location, you come over here to the round board. And we're just going to cross off that first box. That location now is worth 3 points if our route goes by it at the end of the game. But if we're able to play more cards that have the School of Illusion and Pottery on it, then the score, the points we'll get at the end of the game will go up. So hopefully we can make that happen. So we're going to draw a card into our hand. And then you can see here, this card has now been exposed, so we can flip it over. And there we go. That's the end of round 2. As you can see, rounds are super quick. Okay, I see a great pairing here. I want to take the one from my hand and this 6 right here. It's a copy card, so that means we're copying the 2 red tourists. We're going to get to draw 4 red tourists. And I want to do this coordinate 1-6 right up here in the upper right hand corner. I then want to draw my line segment just going straight down, connecting up with my previous segment. And as you can see, we cross this coffee cup. So we're going to circle that. That's now a special ability that we have. You can see there's coffee cups just sort of dotted around the map. They do various things. This one is going to let us change the coordinates on one of our cards by 1, either plus or minus. And we can even loop them, so we can turn a 1 into a 6 and vice versa. That's going to give us a little bit of flexibility in the future if we aren't getting quite the coordinates that we want. We'll keep it circled, and then when we use it, we'll exit out. And if we don't use it by the end of the game, we'll actually get 2 points for that. Now, I want to talk a little bit about how we score at the end of the game. We're basically going to look at each tourist that is adjacent to our final route. And then we're going to look at each location that is adjacent to our final route. And as you can see down here, we're going to be multiplying that type of tourist times the number of locations of that same color to get a final score for each of the 3 different types of tourists. So right now, assuming that we are able to connect this route with this route, you can see here we have 6 red tourists and the potential here to hit 2 red locations. So that would be 6 times 2 or 12 points. And right here we have 3 blue tourists. And at the moment, we're just on 1 blue location. So that would just be 3 points. But my hope is that I can extend this down here, hit this location as well, maybe come through here and hit that blue location. And then there's a red location down here we might want to hit as well. Now there's other locations that are giving us points as well. These yellow locations just give us the points that are in the star. So look at here, we've crossed that one. So that's going to give us 6 points at the end of the game. And if we cross any of the 3 gray locations, those are going to give us points based on how many of the squares we've crossed out. So right now, the only one that would give us any points is the School of Illusion and Pottery. Okay, we're done with that. Draw a card. And this one is uncovered. Ooh, man, we have a lot of high cards. Okay, I think I want to play this 6 here, and then this 5. You can see here she has the television tower, so we're going to mark that. And then we're going to be copying, so we're going to be doing 2 blue tourists, and I want to do it in location 5, 6, right here. And for my root segment, we're just going to come straight down. We've crossed that coffee cup, and that one happens automatically. We're just going to be placing those tourists that are shown there into the spot where we just placed tourists. So we're going to add a red and a green tourist. Now, you may have been wondering why I'm just having this straight line going right down the side of the city. Well, that has to do with our goals. If you look at our A goal, it's telling us that we need to have a straight route that is 5 segments in length or more. And look at this. We've done it. This is 6 segments in length. So we've already completed this goal. We can go up here and we can just mark it off. Because we're playing on hard, we need to do all 3 of these. And well, guess what? If you look over here at our C goal, it says that we need to have 6 or more route segments that are on the outside of the city, along the border, right? So there we go. We've also completed that goal. Our final goal, big group, is just to have 10 tourists in a connected group of locations. And we've already started here. We have 6 right there. So if we can just get 4 more around there, then we'll have completed that goal as well. Not too bad, not too bad. And we can reveal that one. Ooh, okay. Another School of Illusion and Pottery. My concern now is connecting this route to this one. And we can't just sort of slam it in here, because remember, we're only going to get to have 1 route, and we can't have branching paths. So we need to sort of connect this in with that end. Let's go ahead and play our 3 here. And let's put our 4 right there. So we have a School of Illusion. I want to do 3, 4. There we go. We can just continue the route right through there. And our route now passes by the School of Illusion, so those 5 points will be ours at the end of the game. And look at this. We now get to reveal 2 of them, so we'll have a lot more choice. Oh my goodness. All high numbers. Not ideal. I think I'm going to take advantage of the fact that we have these double 6s here. There's only one location right there. There's no tourists there, so we can put 2 red and 2 blue. And the best part about that is we now have the 10 tourists in a group that we need for big group. And I want to just continue our tour right along like that. We've now officially won the game, but now we need to try to get to that, at least get 100 points so we can get a beginner tour guide ranking. Aha! Like seeing the television tower because we are now passing by there on our tour, but things are starting to get a little sketchy here. We only have 4 more rounds. And we really got to connect that up. So let's try to focus on that. I was happy to see this 2. Definitely want to play that. I think I like the 2-5. Right there. So now we just need this segment right here. And we're golden. Okay, very good. Oh, and let's not forget, we got to mark off. Television tower is now worth 5 points. That's great. Okay, I think we're going to have to use our cup now because we're going to want this 2 and this 5. Now, unfortunately, we already have tourists where I want to put it. We could also do 2-5 down here, but that's way out of the way. Instead, what I want to do is use my coffee cup and make that 2 a 1. We'll cross that out. So now we have 5-1. And now we can draw and complete our route. And look at that. That coffee cup there is going to let us put another blue and red tourist. There we go. That is a fantastic route. Oh, wait. And I forgot. It's very easy to forget this. We need to cross off Sky Watcher Observatory. It's now worth 3 points, but it's over here. I'm not sure we're actually going to be visiting that. So I'd love to be able to cross over that hand and get those 10 points. Not looking really possible with the cards that we have here, but this combo isn't so bad. We're going to get to mark off both the School of Illusion and the Observatory. And with 5-4, I want to go 5-4 right here. That's going to work well. We can come over like that and then not only get the coffee cup, but also score that 5 points for that yellow location. So that's going to be great. And oof, that is not great. We could do 4-5 right there. We could use our coffee cup, though. So we got to play this. 4-4 would be here. Yeah, actually, we don't need to use our coffee cup. We could just go 4-4. And then we can go like this. And that way our tour goes by the final red location. That's incredible. We hit all 3 red locations and all 3 blue locations. That's fantastic. We completed all 3 of our goals. That means we won the game. So now we just need to score up and see if we can get one of those 4 rankings. So let's start down here with our tourists. We want to count every red tourist that is adjacent to our route. If we had had any tourists that weren't adjacent to this route, they wouldn't count. So let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And all 3 locations, 1, 2, 3, are adjacent to our route. So that's going to be 39 points for the red tourists. That's fantastic. The green tourists, not so much. We were kind of ignoring them. We only have 1, 2, 3, 4 along our route. And we only crossed 1 green location. This one doesn't count because it was just on the corner. So a measly 4 points for our green tourists. But the blue tourists, I think, are going to be really good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And we hit all 3 blue locations. 42 blue points. We now get points for our yellow locations. And it looks like we have 3. That's going to be 6, 11, 17 points. We now get points for the gray locations, and we hit 2 of them. The School of Illusion, which is worth 7, and the television tower, which is worth 5. So 12 points. We had 1 unused coffee cup right here, and that's worth 2 points. And then we only crossed 1 hand, unfortunately. We were really close to that one over there, and in fact, we were kind of close to that one as well. We chose not to focus on that, so we don't get any points. So it looks like we got a subtotal of 31. When you add that all together, you get 116. So now we can look at our solo card here. We were playing on the hard difficulty, and we got 116. So that means that we were an experienced tour guide. If we had gotten 125, that would have been an epic tour guide, and 135 would be a legendary tour guide. Not too bad for the hard difficulty. And there you go. That was a complete solo play of the first city map. Once you feel comfortable with the rules, you can move on to some of the included city maps. Like, for example, London. On this map, you have a river running through the city, so a route that's on one side of the river is not considered to be adjacent to something on the opposite side of the river. So you'll want to use some of these bridges, and some of them are worth points. You also have these stations to the London Underground. For every one of these stations your route crosses, you get 4 points, but you can also have your route end at one of these stations and then start back up at another one. But you can only do that once for your route. We also have Hong Kong. This map has different viewpoints that you can cross, and the more you get, the more points you'll get. We have Victoria Harbor here, and you'll have to spend your entire turn to draw a route across it. We also have these ferries where if you choose that location, you're allowed to move the tourist to any of these coastal locations. There's also 2 different types of gray locations. There's historic ones and modern ones, and each type will share the same number of victory points. And we have this tram running through that will apply to some of the goal cards that are specific to Hong Kong. And lastly, in my prototype, we have New York. As you can see, New York is double the size. That means you'll have twice the locations that you can place your tourists. There's also a 4th type of tourist who's in New York on business. And because the map is bigger, when you chart a route next to a location where you just added tourists, you can do 3 consecutive route segments rather than 2. There's going to be cafe bonus cards that will define what the cafe symbols are for that round. You have subway stations that work a lot like the London Underground, although they're not worth points necessarily. And you have all sorts of iconic locations like the Statue of Liberty and Central Park and Broadway, Times Square. All of these places score in unique ways. There will also be 3 other maps in the base game, including Paris, Rio de Janeiro, and Cairo. If you're interested in learning more about all these different kinds of maps and their unique rules, please go check out the Kickstarter campaign page. All the information will be there, and I have a link to that in the description below. But there you go, that is En Route. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.